We're back talking with Chief Constable on his final weeks here in the Isle of Man. Have you been challenged in your job at all?
Well, I think you're quite frequently challenged, but I think from the policing in the UK, the different challenges, the challenges in the UK are more around the serious and organised crime. They're more around sort of nasty firearms incidents and likes. I think here the challenges are things that you don't see actually. It's about making sure that things don't happen. And I noticed on a news channel the other day that the second item was a vehicle parked in Peel had the wing mirror knocked off, and that was the second item on a national news. Well, that's good, and long may that remain. But that's one of the challenges for senior police officers, is actually making sure that we concentrate on preventing things and making sure that the onus is on such relatively low-level acts. So that's a completely different challenge, but it's not a sexy one, it's not an exciting one, but it's one that brings bigger rewards.
How have you dealt with your political masters?
Well, I think I've worked for 5 ministers, and on each occasion we've established a line of political responsibility and operational independence. And I have to say that I've been extremely fortunate in so far as nobody's tried to influence me in terms of the operation policing environment. I've enjoyed advice, support and guidance, and it's been a positive relationship, but also one where most of the incumbents have not been frightened to challenge. So in other words, it's very healthy.
A year ago, we're talking about your paymasters. You had the situation where the man in charge of the whole procedures, I'm talking about the drink driving thing now, was then the same day he had an incident on a bus, and he was dealt with. There was no criminal charges involved, but has that tarnished the way he can be in charge of the police, in your view?
No. I think the Minister apologised for the incident. There was no criminality. I think he accepts it was silly. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes. He's clearly said it's mistakes, and all I can say is that his positive contributions and the way in which he supported the constabulary and done initiatives, in my view, far outweigh one act.
But he never comes forward now to do the drink driving campaigns anymore. I mean, you know, he is in charge, isn't he, of that sort of thing? And we get Mr. Cretney, infrastructure, and that sort of thing. You do believe he has got the confidence, your confidence, and the police's confidence? Yeah,
I believe absolutely he's got total confidence. And as I've said, people are allowed transgressions. If people don't breach the criminal law, it's a transgression. I know that he personally has learnt from this and move on. And all I can say is, I just repeat, I've had enormous support from Mr. Watterson. Couldn't have asked for any more. He's bright, he's intelligent, and he wants to move things forward. And for me, that's extremely welcome. And the past is the past, and the future is the future.
But he's cutting your budget.
But everybody's having the budget cut. It's not something that we welcome. It's not his personal responsibility. I think he's fought long and hard to market the police and the contributions that we make to the economy. The cuts that we're taking are commensurate with most other departments, and I'm satisfied that he fought our corner, and in my view with some success.
We had quite an interesting interview when we were discussing some job losses, or you were referring to man hours. And I mean, I could see that you were getting quite emotional about that. Have you got a big attachment here for the Isle of Man and the constabulary then?
Well, very much so, because it goes back to being relatively small. That in a bigger organisation, that you don't actually know all the people. There's literally thousands, but here you really recognise the contribution of each individual. If one person goes off sick or they're on leave, there's a noticeable hole, and the teamwork to cover for that is quite significant. So when you're forced into a situation effectively of redundancy, it's felt personally because of the small organisation, the fact that they play such a significant part, and it's very difficult to cover the roles and responsibilities that they do.
There used to be something said that the Isle of Man was the most police-forced area, per head of capita and all that sort of thing. People, are we over-policed?
But it depends what it is that you're trying to achieve. If you're certainly not over-policed if you want to maintain reduced crime levels and you want to minimise and mitigate the risk of serious and organised crime. If you want to lose further resource, there's an inevitability that volume crime will increase and you will be infiltrated by serious and organised criminality. So it's a choice.
Well, you leave this place with the crime figures constantly falling, and we've had numerous jokes about how low can it go. Do you think you're going to be handing this over to Gary Roberts with probably the only way is up, should I say, because it is so low, in fact, and resources have been cut back?
Yeah, I think that you need to remember that Gary Roberts has been an integral part of what's been achieved. We've been a partnership from the constables, the support staff, all the way through the organisation, that we've been a partnership, and everything that's been achieved has been achieved as a whole. But Gary Roberts has played a massive and significant role. I do accept that the margins of reductions will reduce, but I'm absolutely certain that he will carry on the momentum, and you'll see further significant improvements in overall performance. Whether that's in terms of levels of crime or confidence that the public have or satisfaction, I'm quite sure that Gary will place a lot of onus on increased quality, for example, and he will have his own ideas, and it's obviously better that there's a change, fresh ideas.
Is there anything you think you'll be remembered for?
I think that's one that you really have to ask other people. What I hope that I would be remembered for is not being authoritarian, dealing with things when they had to be dealt with, and actually sort of trying my very best to get the best out of other people and make sure that other people took the credit for what was achieved. But again, it's a question that you ask other people.
Was there ever the option to extend your stay, or did you just see it as a 5-year job? I mean, you never moved over here. I mean, in the sense of your family and everything, you kept 2 locations as such, haven't you, really? You never actually up sticks and moved to the Isle of Man 100%.
Well, I was in the UK for 2 days of every month, which I don't think's disproportionate. So my commitment's always been to the Isle of Man. But in answer to your question, yeah, I saw it as a 5-year period. I personally think that if you lead an organisation, that after 5 years, people need a change, and they need freshening, and they need new ideas. So I've had a great time with the Isle of Man. I think that my team have achieved great things, and I'd like to think that I've left in a better situation than when I arrived, and that's usually a yardstick. But I have to say it's as a consequence of the people that I work with have been absolutely fantastic.